I am coming to you from Lake Harriet, which is going to be tucked into the middle of Southwest Minneapolis's premier neighborhoods. And today we are going to get into this lake. We're going to go for a walk around it. We're going to chat a little bit about the real estate and just what makes this part of town so fantastic. And you're going to want to stick around to the end. We got a little bit of a special treat. I'm actually going to show you one of my most favorite spots in the entire Twin Cities, which is just a couple blocks off of Lake Harriet, which we are going to get into right now. And hey, on a more personal level, if this is your first time to our channel, thank you very much for joining us. My name is Chris. As you will see, I suffer from an acute face of RBF. We call that resting bitch face. But I promise you I'm smiling on the inside. My business partner, Trevor, our team, we like to get out into these communities. We are lifelong Twin Cities residents, and we love to show you guys what life is like. All right, so how about some basics just on the lake itself here as we make our way around the lake. Lake Harriet is going to be about 335 acres. It's almost a perfect circle. The walking track around it is 2.75 miles. That's where we're going today on our walk. And there's got to be at least somebody, I hope, out there wondering, well, can you fish? Do you fish in it? The answer is yes. I personally have actually seen more than one good-sized muskie pulled out of this lake. So there's mussies in here. There's going to be a whole bunch of different panfish, things like that. And you'll see people fishing, along the shorelines at various places. There's fishing piers. They make fishing easy for you on this lake. Are you going to eat the fish in this lake? I am the wrong person to ask. I am a self-described lake snob. The lake I spent the most time on as a kid was Lake Superior, so I compare everything to that, and that ruined it for everything. I expect crystal clear water quality and perfect fish and all that. I personally am not eating fish coming out of an inner metro lake. That is purely my own personal feeling and opinion. You can, of course, do research on the safety and quality of the fish. But yeah, people do fish here. It's kind of funny. You will see every once in a while, you'll see some, super decked out bass boat with like a 400, 500 horsepower outboard just out there with their little Minn Kota troller motor going, because this is a no power lake. So trolling motors only, electric motors, sailboats, canoes, things of that nature. So all along Lake Harriet, as you'll see throughout this video, they do a super nice with the trails. You can see there is separate walking and biking trails, and I will tell you, they take that pretty seriously. Parents with young kids, you get some pretty intense cyclists that come ripping through here, so just keep an eye on that pedestrian traffic as you're walking around the lake. So the real estate scene around Lake Harriet is phenomenal. It's tucked into three of the most desirable neighborhoods, I would argue, in Southwest Minneapolis, that being Linden Hills, Lyndhurst, and the Fulton neighborhoods. And classic single-family home styles dominate. Craftsman, Tudors. You're going to find homes that are built in the 1920s all the way up to custom new builds. The styling and variety and price points, as you're going to see, are spectacular and super varied. It's part of what makes even just going for a walk around this lake so appealing. It's hard to put a number on it. Lakefront listings around Lake Harriet, if you wanted to put a ballpark number, right around $400 to $410 a square foot. So it is premium real estate, and it comes with a premium price tag, but you are getting an absolute premium location. All right, my friends, so behind me is the Bandshell at Lake Harriet. This is on the north end of the lake, kind of flirting right on the edge of Lyndale Park here. But interestingly enough, there has been a bandshell here since 1888, or some iteration of it. They've had some issues with these things. This is actually the fifth generation, or the fifth version you're seeing behind me. They've been destroyed by fires, windstorms, whatnot. But this is a super cool place to stop around Lake Harriet. It's one of the places you're going to want to check out the most. There's the Bread and Pickle, a little restaurant attached to this, just kind of right over behind me, where you can grab a bite to eat, a drink, enjoy the lakefront. And then, of course, the Bandshell itself. So they will do, obviously, a lot of live music here. Is part of Minneapolis has a program called Movies in the Parks. So they will do movies here on nice summer nights, and it's just really a great gathering point. All kinds of little festivals and events. There is a farmers market that takes place here Sunday afternoon. So if and when you are around the Lake Harriet area, make sure you stop in, check out the Bandshell. There's often something super cool happening. A lot of the shows are free. Just a really cool spot to check out. So behind me is Bread and Pickle. This is the only on the lake restaurant on Lake Harriet. Super cool little spot, simple menu, good food, salads, soups, burgers, you can grab a drink, sit by and just kind of watch the people go by, watch the lake, watch the sailboat. So again, this is going to be right next to the Bandshell on the north end of Harriet. Super cool spot to poke in, grab a coffee for your walk around the lake. So the other cool thing you will find at the north end of Lake Harriet is the only boat launch on the lake, which you can see right here behind me. And just a few other things to know if you're thinking about checking this place out. So you will also find the Lake Harriet Yacht Club and Twin Cities Sailing Club right here. Both provide all kinds of opportunities for sailing, both competitive and educational. They've got things for the kids. So if you're not a professional sailor like yours truly, that might be something you want to check out. With regards to boats in this lake in general, just so you guys know, this is a no power lake. So canoes, kayaks, paddleboards, all those kinds of things. You can use an electric trolling motor. You guys with like the 500R Mercury racing outboards, you're gonna have to find a different lake for that, as it is just, like I say, quiet, no power, which keeps it kind of nice. And honestly, it's a really small lake. It's very easy to get across quickly anyway, so just be aware. The other super cool thing, you can rent bikes, paddleboards, canoes. There's something for everything. So if you don't have your own stuff, they got you covered. You can just show up. Parking's very easy. Rent a canoe, paddleboard, get it on the lake. They make it very simple. So the lakefront real estate around Lake Harriet and some of these other metro lakes is some of the most desirable in South Minneapolis. And around Harriet, it really comes in two forms as far as lakefront. You're going to find a lot of homes that are going to be directly on the lake itself, very clear view. And then you'll also find another, you can't see them here, but you can see the trail that I'm walking on, and then just that hill. So there's a little hill, and then right up at the top of that lip, there is also going to be a lot of homes that are set kind of just a block or so off the lake, but all of it is going to be some of the premier, like I said, real estate in the Twin Cities. And if you do live on the lake, what's kind of nice is you'll find lots of very easy access points like this to get yourself down to the lakefront from pretty much anywhere around this lake. Okay, so like I said, some of the coolest real estate in town is around this lake. So just wanted to hop off. So we are just, the lake is 100 feet that way. So we are just kind of like I talked about, just over that tree lip, and there's a couple homes for sale. But this guy you can see behind me, currently for sale for $2.875 million. This is a 5-bed, 5-bath, 9,000 square feet, only 9,000 square feet, built in 1923. Absolutely beautiful home, and it's very typical, you know, of the large size and scale of the homes that you are going to find in these lakeside neighborhoods. And immediately next to it, in case you wanted something a little bit different, perhaps you had a little bit bigger budget, for $5.2 million, you can get this right here. I love the brick, 5-bed, 6-bath, 9,500 square feet. Also a relatively older home, almost 100 years old at this home, built in 1926. But absolutely beautiful. Love the brick, love the wrought iron fences, and again, very typical of just the real estate you're gonna find around Lake Harriet. I'm gonna turn the camera around. You're gonna be able to see right where I came up off the lake, just right there behind me, and you can kind of see the trails, which is where we're gonna head back down and keep walking. All right, quick change of plans before we hop back down to the lake. There's actually one more home for sale right up here, so we figured why not. And it's also a great chance to show you guys a few more of these homes. So we'll just do that as we walk along here. So coming up here on our left at this point right here, also currently for sale, a bit more affordable for Lake Harriet lakefront property. There's going to be a 5-bedroom, 6-bathroom, just about 6,500 square foot home for sale at $2.5 million. So not cheap, but significantly cheaper than the one that's $5.2 million that we just walked by. So carrying on our way here, we're at this point, we are getting around to the south end of Lake Harriet, and look at this home behind me. Check the gardens out. I mean, this is just so typical of what you're going to see. The Tudor style home right there. Great variety in homes, from modern to everything in between. Tudor styles, bungalows, you're going to find it all around Lake Harriet. So we are going to be at the Lake Harriet South Beach. That's another pretty cool point. So I'm going to show you guys real quick what that's all about. So we're pretty much straight up on the south end of Lake Harriet at this point. Lyndale Park is right on the north end. So I just wanted to chat vibe about this lake a little bit. There's 3 lakes right in this little cluster, 3 primary ones anyways. We are currently on Lake Harriet. There's also Lake Minneapolis, formerly Lake Calhoun, and then Lake of the Isles. And all 3 have a very, I would say, distinct and different vibe about them. So we're on Harriet. We're going to talk about Harriet. Vibe on Lake Harriet, I would say, is very peaceful, very chill, quiet. You're going to find a lot of what I would say middle-aged folks and kids, homeowners, a lot of elderly folks, all out for walks, runs, bike rides, various modes of transportation going around this lake. You're not going to get like a ton of loud music. You're not going to get like huge banging parties in the park. You will get that on the other local lake, Lake Minneapolis. That's much more of the party lake, and that's a different video. But just to know, it's, you know, the vibe on Lake Harriet is kind of what you're seeing in this video right now. Tree-lined, quiet, peaceful. It'll definitely get busier than it is at this moment, but it's never, you know, a raucous place. It's always very peaceful, which is, I think it's my favorite lake out of the ones over here to walk around for that reason. So I am at Lyndale Park. This is a 61-acre park on the northern edge of Lake Harriet, and man, it is fantastic. And this is a year-round park, and it's definitely, whether you're considering moving to this area or you're in the Twin Cities, you want to check out a cool spot, definitely needs to be on the list. Has a lot to offer. There's 3 really cool things. We're going to cover each of them here a little bit in this video. There is a bird sanctuary that is very cool. There is a Japanese-inspired peace garden, also very cool. Yours truly can always use more zen in my life. And then there's a rose and perennial garden that make up a part of this park. So I'm going to show you a little bit of each of those. Again, just really cool, along with the real estate around this lake. It's part of what makes this just such an awesome part of South Minneapolis. So it's also worth mentioning, and I would not be doing this full justice if I didn't share this, this whole Lyndale Park, this whole system is part of the Grand Rounds Minneapolis Scenic Byway. And what is that, you may ask? So that was actually one of the first nationally recognized scenic byways in the U.S. It's a 51-mile loop kind of connecting all the major metro lakes and trails. It supports pedestrian traffic, bike traffic, and cars as well. And Lake Harriet, Lake Minneapolis, Lake of the Isles, all these city lakes that we're near right now are all going to be on that Grand Round Scenic Byway. Super cool. If you're a biker, great bike trails, walking trails. Just a quick note about biking in general. Minneapolis is ranked one of the top cities in the nation for being friendly to bike and pedestrian traffic. So just kind of another selling point about this already super cool area. So one of the coolest parts of Lyndale Park is going to be the rose garden and perennial flower gardens that are part of this park. And behind me here you can see the rose garden. You know, there's actually 250 different varieties, 4,000 rose bushes, and at peak bloom you're going to get 60,000 rose bushes going bananas. So it's a great place to come in, quite literally stop and smell the roses. But beyond that, the rest of this, you know, flower garden is for my serious flower people. The gardens are absolutely beautiful, full of things like butterflies, hummingbirds, all that kind of things. And the whole area is just adorned with fountains, walking trails, arches, just a really beautiful spot. It's going to be one of these places where people come. You're going to see wedding pictures, graduation pictures, prom pictures, all that kind of stuff. A lot of that occurring in these flower gardens just because they're absolutely beautiful. Why wouldn't you? So also juxtaposed right up next to the bird sanctuary and as part of Lyndale Park is also going to be the Peace Garden, and that's where I am right now. Super cool little spot. It's Japanese inspired, designed to bring a little bit more zen into your life. And I don't know about you guys, people like me, we can use more zen in our life with today's crazy culture and everything that's going on. But just a very nifty little spot, very nice manicured gardens. They've got all their flowers and plants labeled, kind of zigzag paths go through here. So it's just kind of a nice place to come, hang out, maybe at the end of your walk, sip your coffee, bring a picnic, hang out with the kids. But it's just another one of these really cool pieces of Lyndale Park, which again is going to be right on the northern tip of Lake Harriet. So another pretty cool, I would argue a little bit lesser known thing to do around Lake Harriet is the bird sanctuary. the Thomas Sadler Bird Sanctuary. It is actually a 31-acre nature preserve tucked into just a slice of Lyndale Park on the northern edge of Lake Harriet. Again, if you've seen our videos, Minneapolis doing what it does so well right here. I am smack dab in the middle of the city of Minneapolis, and I could be anywhere out in the sticks. But this bird sanctuary is just that. It's a bird sanctuary. They take it pretty serious. They're not going to let you have your dogs in here. You can see there's no running, there's no screwing around, there's no having fun. No, just kidding. But they take their nature seriously. They want you to enjoy the nature, see the birds. There's a whole variety. And I will tell you one cool thing as somebody who does walk through here fairly regularly. This little section of the park is really cool as it changes seasonally. From spring, you get a lot of migratory songbirds through here. Fall, when the leaves drops, and even in the winter, this little section, this park, will have a completely different vibe. So my nature loving friends, definitely check out the bird sanctuary on the north end of Harriet. Well, I can't see too many at the moment, but you can definitely hear the birds this morning for sure. I will add one thing for my out-of-state, non-Minnesota friends. There can be a running joke about the Minnesota state bird, which is actually the loon, but it is a running joke that the Minnesota state bird is the mosquito. So it's not too bad back here today, but like early spring, guys, depending on when you are getting out into thick woods like this in Minnesota, a little of that deep woods off, you might want to have that on the list depending on when you're getting out. So especially as you get around the south end of Lake Harriet, you can get some really good Minneapolis skyline views. And not sure if you can see it off in the distance there over my right shoulder today. We have so much darn smoke from these Canadian wildfires here in Minnesota right now, it's ridiculous. So get it together, Canada, and put your fires out. Just kidding, I'm a dual citizen, so don't come at me with a bunch of Canada hate. I love Canada. But that's one of the cool things about this lake, and especially as you know, Minnesota with our 4 seasons, as we shift into fall, all these trees around the lake do their thing, turn colors, that view changes, and it's spectacular through all the seasons. It's really cool at night. So the lake with skyline views, again, just more of what's to love to take a walk around this lake. So some of these steps to and from the lake can be steep, as you can see. So just wanted to hop off the lake again and show you another home, just because it's such a different style than the ones we've already looked at. And as I mentioned, that's part of the draw, at least I think, to this area, is just the diversity in home styles. So our subject coming up for sale is just going to be this guy right here, this lovely white home. A lot different than the first ones. The first couple we checked out were built in the 1920s. This is going to be a 2020 built home. You can see the styling, much more modern style of architecture. So 2020 build, 5-bedroom, 6-bath, 7,600 square feet. And that is sitting there currently for sale at right about $4.8 million. I'm gonna turn the camera around. I'm not sure how much you can appreciate it, but you can see the trees in the lake behind me. So now you imagine those leaves turn their pretty fall Minnesota colors, and then they drop, and now you're sitting up elevated over the lake with just a fantastic view of Lake Harriet. So back down to the lake we go, and on our merry way we will continue. So I am at South Beach. No, not South Beach, Miami, although as you can see they look extremely similar. This is going to be the South Beach on the south side of Lake Harriet, and it's going to be one of several swimming beaches you will find along this lake. They make the whole thing accessible, from boating to swimming. Lots of options. It's kind of late morning on a Sunday. As this gets busier and busier during the day, by mid-afternoon, late afternoon, this will be packed full of mainly families, little kids out there swimming, that kind of thing. And in this same location, right where you're going to find South Beach, so this is Lake Harriet Parkway that goes around the lake, and that's Minnehaha Parkway, kind of across the street from us. And you can see kind of there's a trail system right there, part of that Grand Rounds Trailway, that you can get off the lake at this point and continue on that way into the Lyndhurst neighborhood of South Minneapolis and just get out there. So it's more of Minneapolis doing what it does really well with their trail system. So not currently for sale, but this is just one of my most favorite houses around the lake. Probably about 100 yards off the lake. I just love the gables, the roof lines, how they use the copper along with the brick. Super cool looking home. You will find so many homes with such unique styling and features just dotted all around these lakes. So on the western edge here, western side of the lake, you can find some definitely more reasonably priced housing options. And those are going to be in the form of condos. We've got a couple right here that are currently for sale. One's at $275,000, the other one's at $281,000. These are both going to be 1 bed, 1 bath, 1 car garage, both right around 600 square feet finished with something like a $500 a month HOA. So obviously not a lot of real estate, 500-600 square feet in the $275,000 mark. But what you're obviously paying for is location. You are paying to be, 60 feet off this lake, the parks, and everything that it does come with it. All right, I said we had something special to show you at the end of this one. So this is it. So we are standing in basically the corner of 43rd and Upton, which is a neighborhood in Linden Hills, and directly behind me is Martina. Now Martina is a blend of Argentinian and Italian food. For my money, I do not think there is a better restaurant in the Twin Cities. The food is fantastic. They're super creative. Cocktails are also creative, out of this world. You'll find some stuff in there you probably have not seen anywhere else. And this whole little pocket of Linden Hills, this whole neighborhood it's in, super cool. Lots of little coffee shops, just nothing not to like. So thank you for joining me today. Again, my name is Chris. If you haven't already, bang that bell below so we can keep you up to date on what's happening. And we will see you real soon on the next video.